Hi, good to see you all again. Hope you're all well. I've got a great story for you this morning. I wonder if sometimes you found it hard to do the right thing. And in today's story, we actually meet someone who was told that they shouldn't pray to God. But this man carried on praying because, you see, he believed it was the right thing to do. And as you listen to the story, you will see that God's people are no longer living in their own land. They're living very far away. And if you listen carefully, you'll find out the reason why. But of course, before we do that, we need to rap. So when you're ready, twice through. Here we go. Let's open the book. Let's take a look. Let's listen and see. A good cup and be. Let's take a look. Let's open the book. Let's open the book. Let's take a look. Let's listen and see. A good cup and be. Let's take a look. Let's open the book. Well done, you. I'm getting better, but not as good as you at that. Anyway, the rap done. Let's get on with the story. The story is called Daniel and the Lions. You see, Daniel missed his home in Jerusalem, but he always wanted to please God. And wherever he was, he worked hard at all the jobs that he was ever given. So hard, in fact, that he became one of the king's own men. But he never forgot about God, or he never failed to pray morning, noon, and night. However, some of his friends, or so-called friends, were very jealous of Daniel, and they wanted the jobs for themselves. So they talked the king into making a new law, a law which said that no one can pray to anyone else but to the king himself. We've got Daniel now. His friends or enemies laughed. And I guess they had in fact, because the very next morning, Daniel knelt by his window and bowed his head and prayed. But not to the king, but to God. Thank you, he said, for taking care of us in this far-away land. Please forgive us, and please take us back to our own land soon. Wow, Daniel's enemies was watching, and before they could even open his eyes, they grabbed Daniel and dragged him in front of the king. Ha ha, they thought. The king was very sad, very, very sad indeed. He liked Daniel, but he could not break his own law. With a very heavy heart, he said, Daniel, you must be punished. He sighed. Throw him into the lion's pit. But even as the king gave that order, he whispered a prayer that no one else could hear, a prayer to Daniel's God, that somehow that Daniel might be saved. Well, the pit was very dark, very, very dark. The pit was very deep indeed, and the lions covered the floor like a shaggy, growling carpet. They leapt to their feet when they saw Daniel hit the floor, and the claws were out. They licked their lips. They showed their teeth in readiness. Their eyes shone bright and fierce. They opened their mouths and they moved towards Daniel. Dinner, they thought, And then suddenly they stopped. They stopped dead in their tracks. When a voice, very loud indeed, said, "Shoo, scat!" The voice came from behind Daniel. the lions' mouths snapped shut, their tails drooped, and they whimpered away to the corners of the cave. Slowly, Daniel turned to find out where this voice came from, and he looked up and he saw an enormous angel. And the angel said, "Nothing to worry about now." And the angel smiled. "You see, God sent me to watch over you. And I want you now, Daniel, to rest and get some sleep." And with that, the angel disappeared, and Daniel lay down on the floor and fell to sleep. Well, you can imagine what happened next. In the next morning, the king was cheering, and when he discovered that Daniel was still alive, he was like punching the air, was thinking, "Yes, Daniel's still alive." "Pull Daniel out," he ordered to his men, and while you're at it, the people who made me and talked me into making that silly law, you go down to the pit instead. The king put his arm around Daniel and walked him back to his palace. Meanwhile, Daniel's so-called friends cried for help, and the lions enjoyed a lovely, lovely breakfast. And there is the end of the story. However, Daniel, you see, it was wrong to pray to the king, but he knew he wanted to pray to his God. In fact, he risked being eaten by the lions down the pit, but he still chose the right thing to do. He honored God, and God, in return, took care of Daniel. You see, like I said at the beginning of the story, doing the right thing can be difficult at times. Daniel was very brave, wasn't he? I wonder, close your eyes just for a moment or two and see if you can think of a time when you were very brave like Daniel. I'm sure you've come up with one or two times that you were brave, but possibly not down the pit with lions. However, I'd like to end our time together now with a prayer. And of course, if you want to make the prayer yours, please say Amen at the end. So close your eyes one more time. Dear God, sometimes other people make us do the wrong things. Please help us to be brave and stand up for what we know is right. Amen. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening, and take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.